Okay, so here we are. We're going to break this whole goat down here. So first thing we're probably going to do is take some of these innards out. This liver and this heart have already been taken out from here. You can see the kidneys are hanging. These are still attached. But what you do is you can just pull them right off. Just give them a little yank. They'll come free. I'm going to take the one really nice part, this tongue. Just going to snip that, and we'll put this with the rest of the offals. A lot of times you don't have to worry about splitting right through the bone, but a lot of times if you get a little leverage, you can just kind of snap it, and then it comes right off for you. And then once that's cut through the bone, we can cut the rest of it right off. What we're going to do is we're going to separate the animal into primals. So I usually like to start with the shoulders. You come in here and you see all this like spider webby type tissue. This just tells you that you're going in the right direction. This is one of the shoulders, and then I'll flip it over. And this is probably just the most difficult part, just because the animal is so large and it might want to roll over on you. But so here we go again. You see this stuff here? You can also give it a little bit of help. And a lot of times you can even do a lot of this with your hands. Just go right through there. So the shoulders or the arms are off right now. Probably going to take the legs off. It's going to be a little bit easier. So that's leg number one. You might need to flip the animal around. Put a little bit of pressure. Okay, so the legs are off. Now what we want to do is separate the loin from the rack area. Then you want to make an incision right where that rib is, right there, without going too far into the meat. You don't want to stick it in there because that's where your nice chops are. You just want to cut around these ribs so that we know where we want to separate the animal. The only thing that's in the way between the front of the animal and the behind of the animal is just the spine. We're just going to go take it off a little bit more. There we go. Okay, so now we have the fore of the animal and the rear of the animal. We're going to put this guy to the side and we'll tackle this later. Then, so now what we have is there's some tissue right here that comes off pretty easily. That's going to make it a little bit easier to separate the chops from the neck here. And then that separates some of this flap from the rest of the animal. So we're just going to stick this over here. So now the breastbones are off. You can see this right here is your very tiny, tender chops, right? You'll be able to recognize this. So we want to take this off the spine. Make an incision there that's not too deep, and it's right along the spine. Again, we'll put this guy vertically, and we're going to put our cleaver, it's basically just chop through this bone all the way down. Now I have the rack, and then I'm just going to chop through and get a nice neck. This is our spine, this is our neck. So now we have to deal with this a little bit more. So we're going to put this over here. Slide that right there. So now what we have left, basically just the hip bones, are just basically just bones and stuff. Sometimes you want to keep these bellies on, but sometimes you can take this off and you can make a big roulade or something and roll the whole thing up. We're not going to do that right now. We're just going to concentrate on breaking it down a little smaller pieces. And around these hips is where we want to go. So we'll make some incision in there. So there. And break that guy right open. So here's our loin. So basically, I've gotten these this goat down to primal parts, and what we're going to do is I'm just going to stretch it out as it were connected again, so just to give you an idea back from where everything came from. This head, one of the things that you can do to it, there's not a lot of meat on this because this animal is young, but this thing, we could brine this and braise it. You can make some sort of testa or some sort of charcuterie with the little bit of meat that's on there. Is not a lot, but this can definitely be used. Kidneys are suitable for sauteing. They're pretty firm, they have a lot of texture, and they're suitable for maybe making a little skewer out of, and maybe skewering some other meats, but they definitely have their own little texture to them. So the heart is something that you can leave this fat on, or you can take this off. And so basically this thing can be, for example, diced up and braised with maybe some beans or something like that. And this has a lot of delicious flavor too. Now, the liver, you can grill these little pieces like that, or you can cut a bigger slice off the liver. You could perhaps bread this and fry this or something like that. Okay, so now the legs here, this is probably the cut that is the biggest muscle groups. As you can see, there's just a ton of meat on there, and this would make a nice sandwich or a nice roast. You can bone this out and roll it up and tie it and just simply roast it. The neck, I think I mentioned before, a lot of meat in here. We would maybe sear it, add some vegetables, add a little bit of either stock that we make from the bones or just some water. There's a lot of gelatin in here, so this is definitely braising meat. This is nothing you want to really roast or anything like that, but this is all delicious stuff.